To tell you honestly, when I found out I was pregnant, I thought everything was gonna be the same. Like I would go to work, I would get home, take care of a baby, still be the go-getter, still be everything. And then I realized when I gave birth and then I was already working from home that it's really difficult. It's really different. And I thought that, if a lot of moms are already doing this, and I now have a newfound respect and love for all of them, especially our moms as well. So I think in the long term, since I started the sustainability work also, I realized that we really have to take care of the businesses and our communities around us, because our kids in the future will be the ones to suffer the consequences if we don't.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to Loop Me In. This is the podcast for job seekers, young millennials in the workforce, for the go-getters and the visionaries. In Loop Me In, we will discuss the new opportunities in the job market, trends, and innovations in different industries, and we will loop in thought leaders, corporate executives, entrepreneurs to pick their brains and listen to their inspiring success stories. By the way, this is Julian Rodriguez, co-founder of Plastic Tides, and our nonprofit is on a mission to clean the rivers and the seas, not just here in the Philippines, but also in the entire world. I would love to greet our listeners from the US, Spain, New Zealand, and Australia. I want to say hi to all of you. Please do reach out. It's so nice to hear from all of you out there. So we are also available on Spotify, Apple, and Google Podcasts, YouTube, Facebook, and Podbean. Let's face it, being a parent is a life-changing experience. It requires a renewed sense of focus, a sudden change in priorities, and a wider perspective about one's life and purpose. And in climbing the corporate ladder, it's also tough. Having children means there's work needed to be done after the 9 to 5 grind. Managing money and maintaining mental toughness are going to be crucial. In an article published by Forbes, most millennial mothers feel overwhelmed and unsupported during the transition from motherhood to working mother. Imagine nursing a baby while aligning with your team via Zoom, or holding a baby with your left arm while the right hand is being used to type an email to a boss or client. Working moms are restless during the day to deliver their requirements, to make a sale, and to manage a team or projects. And then there are also the sleepless nights because of the late night baby crying or diaper duties. According to a study in 2019 conducted by the National Economic and Development Authority, or NEDA, Filipino women are more likely to choose to take care of their kids and give up their work during the peak childbearing age of 25 to 29 years old. Though the Philippines leads Asia in the number of women in leadership and professional roles, almost half of working women opted to sit it out from the playing field of the labor force so that they can focus on taking care of their children. Sometimes it boils down to staying in the job for career growth or to just stay at home, take care of the children, and watch them grow. But like what I always say when I'm facing a crossroad, why not both? Ladies and gentlemen, our guest for today is a former corporate executive in AIA Film, AXA, and BPI. She was also former senior manager for corporate affairs and communications in Pepsi Cola Products Philippines, where she spearheaded a lot of projects for sustainability and corporate social responsibility. While having a steady and successful career in the corporate arena, she also experienced a warm welcome in the world of motherhood by giving birth to her beautiful daughter in the latter part of 2019. Now, she is the Chief Operations Officer of Imprint Customs, an apparel and designs company based in Marikina City, and also a full time mom for her daughter, Gwen Candice. For today's episode, I am so honored to announce that we are looping in one of our young Filipino moms, kicking it in the corporate and business arena. Let's give it up for Miss Monique Castro. Hi, Monique. How are you?
Hi, Jules. I'm good. So, sobrang overwhelming naman yung intro ko.
Yeah, I mean, you worked hard for it. You did that. This
Thank
is
you, thank
this is
you.
really your career that you decided to go through, and it's not exactly the most um, easy. So
Yeah.
I want to ask more about that later on. So I do have questions
Okay,
for you.
sure.
I'm a little bit excited just so that everyone knows in the audience that's listening here today. Monique and I used to be batchmates in school before, and that was kind of like how we met each other. Correct?
Yes, we used to dance
I
together.
know exactly. We also used to do like cheering. I used to be a lifter.
Yeah.
Wow, imagine a lifter.
And that was what, 10 years
Yeah,
ago?
I
Can you
know.
still dance now,
I
Jules?
learned, I learned discipline. I think that's the best thing from that experience. Discipline. If I make a mistake, I don't want to drop anyone. So,
Oh,
diba? I just want to ask, how are you? I mean, how's this whole pandemic been going on? I know that you are running a business. Just give me a general feel of how you've been lately.
so I've been on maternity leave since January. And then when I got back to work, we were actually on a work from home setup already. So since January until now, I'm just actually stuck in the room taking care of the baby. So it's very different as compared to what I've been doing before, wherein I would always go out and meet a lot of people, go into meetings. Right now, I'm just at home taking care of a baby, and it's quite crazy. It's very different from what I'm really used to.
I guess it's a learning phase, obviously, being a parent. But what would you say is kind of like the mantra that you've been repeating to yourself lately during this whole time when, of course, there's the pandemic, there's the there's a lot of like instability vibes. I want to see what mantras work for you.
Yeah, so I've just been telling myself, this will pass. This too shall pass. And then we should just have faith, and we should just keep going and do whatever we're still doing in another way. We have to be more creative, and we have to find ways for us to have our mental health in check all the time. Like this type of Zoom calls, I've been on a lot of Zoom calls with my friends. We check up on each other, especially those friends who are really like extrovert and let get the vibe when they're outside. So
I,
that's really what I've been doing the past months. Yeah,
I think that's really something that people tend to forget, that there really is an effect on you somehow when you're not able to interact with people. You
it's true.
you feel so isolated and you're left to your thoughts, which is so nakaka-stress if you're
Yeah, yeah,
if you're
yeah.
an anxious
So I
person.
actually I actually did this meditation thing, and it helped with the anxiety because of course I have a baby now, and I'm really scared to go out. That if ever I go out, I'd get the virus, I'd pass it on to my baby. So there's another layer of stress with it. So good thing there's meditation, there are webinars, and there are a lot of podcasts like this that you could listen to. So thank you for doing this, Jules.
My pleasure. I just want other people out there to be listening into even words of affirmation from us that things are going to be all right. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
we're tough. So, speaking
Well,
of tough, uh,
yeah.
you did graduate BS Statistics in UP Diliman, and you obtained your MBA in De La Salle University. Wow, what made you decide to take an MBA? I mean, wasn't the first few years enough?
I actually took up statistics because before we graduated high school, I Googled what's the top paying job in the world. And I found out that it is an actuary. So, and to become an actuary, you have to take BS statistics or math. So I took that course. After that, I decided actually it's not for me. And then I went to the corporate world. I became a management trainee. Wherein we were able to go around the different departments. It was really to get to know a bit of everything: marketing, sales, operations, finance. So everything. We got a piece of everything. So from there, I realized, I need more training in terms of business and general management. So which is why I took MBA. The plan also back then was for me to eventually take on my mom's role in her company. So that was the reason why I took MBA. And I've never I don't regret that decision. It was hard. It was very tough to balance both my work and going to school after work and then doing all of our assignments and case studies. But come to think of it, it really became handy whenever we would develop strategies or whenever I would do other types of projects. So that's why I think everyone should take an MBA or a master's degree.
And
Yeah.
I feel like it's the hardest parts of your life that you look back on and say, well, if I've gone through that, that's really
Yeah.
my inspiration to push further, 'di ba? Parang
You know,
parang may pinagdaanan.
yeah,
Sorry.
some people actually they would take the MBA for the title. But for me, I think it's really more of the experience that I was able to get from it. I learned a lot of frameworks. I met a lot of people, and the network that I was able to build because of my MBA degree really helped me in my work. I got to learn a lot of best practices from different companies. So things that are you won't really talk about work stuff with your friends, right? It's not every day that you would go out for dinner with your barkada and talk to them about, we have this challenge in our company. What
Yeah.
have you done for it? So it's a different environment altogether. So that's one of the things that I really enjoyed with the MBA program.
So your first jobs were in the financial and banking
Yeah.
sector.
Yes.
You had strong experience in the AIA Film, AXA, and
Mm-hmm.
BPI world.
Mm. Yeah.
Um, that's kind of like seeing the big picture through these big companies. What would you say you kind of like established? What did you establish after working with these companies for yourself?
For myself, I learned a lot of financial planning. If for anything, that was my key takeaway from being in the financial industry. Personally, I can manage my finance. I know how to do stocks, how to do mutual funds, and all of these types, bonds, investments, what have you. And I could even translate it into very basic or simple layman term for my friends. So whenever they have a question about an agent approaching them, offering them different types of products, they would approach me. They would ask me if it's okay or niloloko lang ba sila or what. So I think that is the one thing that I'm grateful for, starting in the financial industry. Feeling ko if I started in the retail industry, I don't have any savings right now or in in any other type of industry because I would just spend it all and shop.
Yeah,
So
parang you built your
yeah,
base financial knowledge there.
yeah,
You learned to be
yeah.
the. I mean, shrewd is a strong word, but you learned how to be shrewd because of the work.
Mm.
Know
I
every
learned how. Yes, I learned how to manage my money properly. Yeah.
tama. I love it. I feel like
Mm-hmm.
that's also a weakness with a lot of young Filipinos, that money management is really
Yeah.
I mean, I'm one of them.
Especially you could always call me.
I would appreciate that. So I feel like that's also like that's a humanitarian project on your end. So speaking of
True.
which, pumunta tayo. I mean, you went to Pepsi. You went to Pepsi after this bank sector or this financial sector,
Mhm.
and you took
Yeah.
on a role which is kind of like a little bit different from what your previous job was. You took a role in corporate social responsibility. How was the shift?
Yeah, it's a very different world. The role is actually a communications post, so it's not that far from what I was doing. The added value maybe was that the CSR part is something sort of innate already in life insurance. So my last stint was in life insurance. So technically for me, I think that's already a CSR because you're helping
You
people gain
interact.
financial independence, yes. And then you're teaching financial literacy. So it was not that hard of a shift for me to be in a CSR role. The thing that I enjoyed most and I learned a lot in the CSR stint is the um, sustainability function. Initially, we didn't have a sustainability plan. And then when I started there, that was the time that we developed it. And I started it from framework until execution. Wow, talaga. As in, I really learned a lot. And yeah, wow, talaga. I'm really so just grateful that Pepsi allowed me to do that.
And wouldn't you say that also kind of like opened you up to a new perspective on the world,
Yeah,
on
yes, it's
environmentalism,
true.
and a company's role in the well-being of the natural resources that we have?
Yeah, that's right. Because companies really have a ripple effect on everything. So in Pepsi, we were really conscious about what we would do because we know that we are affecting a lot of lives in the communities where we are.
How would you say that kind of like changed your perspective na rin on your way of serving your own community? Parang was it an opportunity for you to be like, wow, ito pala yung mga possibilities where people can be helped? And do you feel like that kind of
Yeah. So right now, I'm also in another company already. I'm already helping them build sort of a sustainability way, trying to reduce our use of plastics, finding ways how to recycle our waste. So it has already been parang naging ano na siya, naging innate na siya with me. The sustainability role, I was able to take it in already. And even the partners that we had, they're still calling me, they're still asking for help, and I'm still sort of their consultant in a way, and I like that I'm helping them out.
I feel like that's really the new niche now, that
Yeah,
sustainability is really parang, oh nga no, how can I really run my business with longevity in mind?
yeah, yeah, that's right. It's really a long-term strategy that not all businesses are thinking of, but they should.
And to kind of like segue into that, that's exactly like that's a long term thing, and you're doing this also for your own family's longevity as well. So let's bring in the concept of being a mom now, wherein sustainability is also for you literally have someone that you are imagining the future for. And that's why there's a lot of people out there who are also listening, who are trying to find out also how can they perceive their new work experience as something that they can look forward to as well. And the way you do it would inspire them. So my question is, uh, uh, I mean, how did you imagine that moment when you realized that your career was going to change, when you were going to be a mom?
To tell you honestly, when I found out I was pregnant, I thought everything was gonna be the same. Like I would go to work, I would get home, take care of a baby, still be the go getter, still be everything. And then I realized that when I gave birth and then I was already working from home that it's really difficult. It's really different. And I thought that, if a lot of moms are already doing this, and I now have a newfound respect and love for all of them, especially our moms as well. So I think in the long term, since I started the sustainability work also, I realized that we really have to take care of the businesses and our communities around us, especially the planet, even the earth, because our kids in the future will be the ones to suffer the consequences if we don't. So yeah.
How would you say you're balancing your time? Or is there a sort of rule that you've set for yourself in terms of understanding your time for work and being a mom? Or is it really separate? Do you have that mindset, or do you feel like you try to intertwine it?
No, it's not separate. There's no work life balance anymore. It's work life together, if there's such a term. I would when I was doing work from home, I would set my meetings around the time that my baby would be taking a nap, or that I won't be breastfeeding, or if I'm breastfeeding, I would do a Zoom meeting, just a voice call. I won't do a video. So the entire day is rolls around my baby schedule. So that's how it was for me when I was working from home. Right now, it's still the same thing. The good thing is that our business is at home only, so I, I don't really need to step out of the room, and everything is just here. But still, the struggle is real. Yeah.
So you did leave your corporate job and you
Yes.
moved to run Imprint Customs. And tell me, what is that big leap? Would you say you had a
Uh,
head start in the work from home business?
Not really. Well, Imprint Customs is not my business. It's the business of my partner. He's been running it for about 5 years already. I've just been really lucky that he allowed me to leave the corporate world and help him out, because I think if I stayed in corporate, it would really be a challenge for us, because we don't have a yaya currently. I'm very hands on with my child, especially with the ECQ. We were not able to find anyone to help us anymore. So it was a good timing also for us to for me to leave the corporate world. But now we're incorporating also. So technically, I'm still in the corporate world. It's just an SME.
And
Yeah,
yun nga, I think that's the beauty of it though, that you now have the advantage of really making it a little bit, just a little bit more flexible, so that your time is like sakto. Because working with a larger corporate or a larger corporation will also eat up a lot more of those little moments in your
yep,
day.
yep. That's true.
So that's also a thought that I want to kind of remind people that it's not really about your job being your career. It doesn't encompass it that way, that it's the end all of be all of who you are. It's
Yeah,
really about how you grow beyond that. And I'm so happy that you really are working with Imprint Customs, so that you can really have that time to be creative as well in the way you manage your business,
yeah,
and also be able to raise a kid who is going to be um, uh, benefiting off of this type of work. You have
yeah,
work
yeah.
during the
It's true.
quarantine.
It's true.
So parang yun yung hinahanap. That's what we're looking for. How are people being able to kind of float, and how are people able to survive during this time where our economy is definitely at a challenge point?
Yeah, yeah. That's true.
So what's your idea, or what do you imagine yourself, or how do you visualize your most efficient work from home version?
Well, I'd have to say that is when my baby is napping. Seriously, when the baby is awake, you can't really do anything, because you have to watch every single thing that she would do. So like a few days ago, she started crawling, and she started crawling outside of her mat. So she's all over our floor now. I couldn't really do anything else but watch her. So I don't know how the other moms were able to do it before, but salute to you, everyone. I could only do my work when she's napping, especially at night. So I have two shifts. The day shift is when I'm a mom. The night shift is when I do my work.
I think this is information that a lot of new moms also need to know. Kasi this is the stuff you don't see,
Yes,
because no one makes kwento, and it happens usually in private. So I think information like this is super important as well for new parents who have this perception of how they should be working. 'Di ba?
yeah, yeah,
Parang
yeah,
they have this image of how they should be working at home, when in reality, parang there are different ways to do it. You just have to see how others are doing it.
yep.
Ang
True.
lakas ng pressure nila sa sarili nila. So, so here's a fact. Kevin
Yeah.
O'Leary, a Canadian businessman who co-founded O'Leary Funds, you
Mm,
best
mm.
know him from Shark Tank, the reality TV show, mentioned that not some, but all of his Shark Tank companies that are successful are managed by women. So, what are your thoughts on this, and why do you think, or what do you think are the unique skills that most women and moms possess that make them good managers and leaders?
I'm not surprised. Sorry, Jules.
No, I'm not
Because
surprised.
because actually I work best with a male boss, which is weird because as I realized, men are more visionaries. Like they have a lot of ideas, but they let the women do the execution, the entire planning down to the detail, nitty gritty of it. So the thing about us women is that we're very detail oriented. We know how to get things done. We are thinking of, well, the men are still thinking of phase one. We're already in phase two and three.
I 100% agree.
We're forward looking about everything. So that's the reason why women are thriving really in any type of role. And also, a lot of moms, since they have this innate character of being nurturing and being more understanding, so they really have good people management skills. And yeah, so maybe that's why.
I agree. I feel like even in my own life, I would
Hmm.
not be here without the great management skills of the women in my life who have taught me to be more responsible.
Yeah.
So that's what I also feel like with people who I've met in companies also as well. There is a difference in the approach, and
Hmm.
yun nga, parang there's a lot more detail to being able
Yeah.
to relay. If I asked most of my male workmates about something that was, I mean, I'm not generalizing. I'm just saying I would be able to get more detail from a female coworker about a topic because of the just the observation skills that
Yeah.
a lot of my usual male coworkers don't have.
Yeah. That's true. That's true.
So yeah, I feel like that's also, I feel like the challenge now for a lot of people. How are they able to be themselves as the entrepreneur, as the go-getter that they are, while being able to balance as well the pressures, the challenges of being a mom in this community now. So I want to ask you, what would you say are the, being a new mom, what are the things that really like that challenge you now? What are people's, what are the common misconceptions or common questions that people have that are, I would say, challenging you as well?
When I was in the corporate world, in the big companies, I really thought that working moms, well, when I was single and I didn't have a child, I really thought that working moms, they didn't have time for their kids. They were just really focused on their careers. And these are the hard hitters, the go getters in the corporate world. When I became a mom myself, that's when I realized that it was one tough job to be doing that phase in the corporate world and still managing the house when they get home. So they truly are rock stars. And I think that is one of the things that people think are, it's a misconception about these working moms, that they don't really take care of the family or that they're focused too much on their work. Yeah.
I feel like there's also a lot of pressure on women in the Philippines. I mean, generally, I would say that I mean, I did just get married,
Mm,
and there's a lot of traditional Pinoy questions out
mm,
there, like when
mm.
are you gonna have a kid? When are you gonna do
Yeah.
this? When are you gonna do that? I mean, what I like to say is these are things that are private to me, and I like to share them when I choose to. But there are people who say about your
Yeah.
life what should
Yeah.
happen. So
Yeah.
there are women out there who have other people telling them what to do. So talk to them. You tell me, what do they need to hear?
Well, you just do you. That's it. You don't listen to all of these things. You are the mom. You know what's best for your child. So that's it. Because I also hear a lot of these things. I hear a lot of side comments with the way I'm parenting. I'm like, are you the mom of my child? So I just keep that in mind, that I know what's best for my child, because we're together every day, every single second. So yeah, that's my message to all of the moms out there.
That's really sweet. I feel like there's really that voice that needs to be heard nowadays, wherein there's a lot of moms who are, of course,
Yeah,
scared of the outside world. That's fair.
yeah.
So there's that
Especially,
energy. Sorry, you continue.
yeah, especially on social media, a lot of moms are posting like milestones of their kids, and then like your elders would tell you, oh, how come this child is already crawling or he's already walking and all of these. I'm like, it's not a competition.
Mm.
Children grow up, they take their time, they do what they want to do. So, just back off and let the child explore and grow and just be themselves. Yeah.
I think that's fair also because there is a lot of pressure on Filipino women. Um, so I wanted to ask, Imprint Customs, you guys have a variety of services. For our audience, would it be cool to ask what are you offering?
So right now, Imprint Customs is doing customized printing of any type of apparel. And also, we have our own line of jerseys for motorcycle enthusiasts, motorbike users. That's you. Yeah, I'll send you stuff. I should send you stuff. Okay.
Don't worry, bumili na rin ako dati.
I really? Ano ba yan? Hindi mo ako sinabihan. Ayan. There. So yeah, so that's what we do. We cater to different orders. There's no minimum requirement as compared to the other printing shops. We can do just one cap if you just need one cap. And I'm actually developing now a new line. It's called Imprint Baby. So I'm trying to launch it when my baby allows me to. No, anytime soon. So anytime this year. Yeah.
I love the fact also that you have the opportunity to align it with your own personal life stage as well.
Yes, that's true.
Parang you recognize that there is a need for other moms out there to have apparel for their children, and your experience can be a sort of assurance as well that they would have the right ones that are hypoallergenic and all that stuff,
And
or you
yes,
know
using sustainable fabric also. Ah.
that's perfect. That's
Yeah.
exactly what I mean. This pandemic has really reminded people about what you can do to be more sustainable, how to really further yourself from the the supply chain that is
Yeah.
attached to larger corporations. How
Yeah.
would you say you've made those small changes in your own life?
I actually made a capsule collection of clothes already. I realized during the pandemic that I don't really need a lot of clothes, and I just gave a lot of them away. And now I'm living with 30 pieces of shirts in my closet, and I'm fine. I'm fine with it because and then I realized that you just really need the basics, the essentials. You don't really need a lot of things to make you happy, to make you survive.
I think it's like Marie Kondoing
Yeah,
your life,
that's
your
true.
whole life, the inside of your heart. That's what you have to Marie Kondo, and then you can fix everything outside.
That's true.
I am so happy that we were able to talk today. I feel like it was a nice catching up, and I do want to talk more about imprint customs. But before that, I do want to ask, how do we find your products online?
Oh, so Imprint Customs is available in Lazada and Facebook.
I would say that's been a huge convenience, especially during this time of lockdown, quarantine to be correct. And yun nga, what would you say are the goals that you have working with Imprint Customs, and what are the, I guess, targets that you're reaching out for right now for the company's future, and how are they relating to your own personal career goals?
So we have a new vision for the business. So when I joined the small business, we still try to think that it's a small business, but we have big plans for it. I can't really share everything right now, but moving forward, we really hope that it would be a huge type of retail company with different product lines.
I like that. I feel
Yeah.
like it's the moment you get selling online down, you already have that source of income that can just constantly run for you. It's almost passive if it's run at the right rate, I feel.
Yeah, yeah,
And that gives you more time to have quality time with your family as
yeah.
well,
That's
with the
true.
kids, and yun parang that's the dream. And I'm happy that you're able to share with us also that this is how you're dealing with it during this quarantine. Monique, it's been such a pleasure to have you on the show. Before we end, how can we reach you, and how can people out there find you online, not just for imprint, but professionally on LinkedIn? How can we find you?
Yeah, so I'm on LinkedIn. You can check Monique Castro. On Instagram, it's Meming C, and I actually have a blog. I try to write as often as I can. It's financial tips for yuppies, and now I'm also doing financial tips for new moms. That's memingc.wordpress.com.
I love it. Thank you so much for giving us your time today. I know that
Thanks
it takes
also,
a
Jules.
lot, especially being a new mom, all your time. It's very important.
Yeah.
So, from the bottom of my heart, thank you so much.
Thank you also, Jules.
And that ends our episode for today. Please listen or download our podcasts on Spotify, Podbean, Apple, and Google Podcasts. You can also catch us on Facebook and YouTube. And of course, you can catch us on our official website, connectpodcast.net. Please follow us on our official social media accounts. You can also follow me on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. This has been Jules Rodriguez, and this is Loop Me In.